we'll be starting with LangChain. So, first thing, introduction to LangChain. So, I believe everyone here knows something about LLMs, right? Have you heard of maybe LLMs or something? Yep. So let's get started with it. So fine. Anushka, next thing. Okay. So LangChain is just a framework which is actually built to connect LLMs, to connect with the LLMs, you can say. Okay, like let's say if I am having multiple, so what are the LLM, who are the provider for LLM? And the first thing is to understand what exactly LLM is. That is the one thing. So LLM is basically a large language model. So what exactly large language model is? So let's dive into LLM first of all. So if I say large language model before ChatGPT, like ChatGPT came like maybe 2 years back, right? So before ChatGPT, I can say like we have used NLP, we have used language models like NLP and multiple other models as well. But when it comes to LLMs, they have a plenty of data, not only through a particular one website. It has been from like Wikipedia, Google, everywhere, like GitHub. So it has the data from every sources what we see as a user on the platform. So it has all the data from everywhere. Okay, not the private data but the public data. Okay, so since it has all the data, the minute we go for like any kind of development for in machine learning, we always give a big thought to getting the data, and LLM has just solved those things, that we are getting all the data which is available for public forum, on public forum. Okay, so LLM has the collection of all the data, and based on that, the minute we write something or the minute we give something, let's say example of Chat GPT. So if we give some command to Chat GPT, it or maybe prompt to Chat GPT, by default it will give us some particular answer. It will try to give as accurate answer as it can, right? Whatever it is, it can search for on internet. It can just generate an answer for that, right? So basically, Chat GPT, I can say not Chat GPT. Actually, Chat GPT is an application developed by OpenAI, but OpenAI is the provider for on one LLM. Okay, like GPT 3, 0.5, GPT 4. So these are some LLMs that they provide by OpenAI, right? Then we have Hugging Face. If we talk about like open source, so we have Hugging Face, we have Cohere. So these are some LLM provider from where we get the models of this large language models. Okay. After that, so what does LangChain do is we have one model. So let me turn on my camera. Uh, Let me know if I am visible.
Yeah.
Yes,
True.
visible.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, what does LangChain do is, let's say if I am having this LLM model here, okay, and this side I am having one client. Okay. So what does LangChain do is directly connecting with an LLM. Let's say if I want to connect with LLM, so I can connect with directly, let's say OpenAI maybe, right, or maybe Cohere, or maybe Hugging Face. So we have one particular LLM model provider from where we can connect with our models, right? But now understand that not only OpenAI, maybe I want some other things. Like I want to chain other LLM provider as well. Maybe like Cohere, Bloom, Hugging Face, OpenAI, Azure. Okay, like IBM is also having their own LLM model. So if we want to combine everything, or maybe we want to chain these things, so in that case we have LangChain. Or not only this, actually, let's say if I want to build my own like model based on LLMs. So in order to do that, we have to go through whole process of pre-processing the data from what we are getting from the user, then doing all the transformation of the data. Everything we have to do it by ourselves. Then only we can give it to one LLM model, right? But LangChain comes here where they give you can see it allows the seamless chaining of different data processing tasks, make it easier to handle large scale data operations. So what it does is, if you are having any kind of data, so processing of data or transformation of data will be done by LangChain, and then it will just change some LLMs, multiple LLMs on every chain, and then it will generate you a final output. Okay, so that is about a LangChain. Okay, like, so what is LangChain exactly? It is very simple. It just creates, like, instead of doing everything by yourself, since it is a framework, so it will do some things for you, right? So it just first thing, it changes the LLMs models as well. And one more thing it does is it pre-processes your data, it transforms your data into something which makes some sense to the LLM models, and then it try to generate the output. And one more thing you need to keep in mind, for LLM, whenever it comes to a data generation, if we say chat GPT example, so in that case, what it does is, first thing, it let's say if I am writing what is AI, maybe, right? So it will first start giving you the answer of AI, right? Whatever the answer it is going to give, so it will start giving the answer for what is AI, right? But the thing here is, it will not directly give you the answer of as a whole paragraph. What LLM does is, it every word will be predicted after it writes the previous word. So you can assume, like, you have a current word to be predicted, so that current word will be predicted based on what you have in the previous word. So every word will be predicted after the previous word has been uh, outputted on the platform, like on the output screen, maybe you can say. Okay, so that is what LLM does. That is how the LLM model works. And so now, can you go to next slide, Anushka? Okay. So about, if we check about the basics of LangChain, just now I have explained. So it will just try to, you can connect it with multiple uh, LLM provider. So let's say Cohere is there, OpenAI is there, Bloom is there, and maybe Hugging Face is there. So you can connect with any LLM provider. So you can see library built to simplify the interaction with various LLM providers. Okay, so you have these LLM providers from where you can directly connect with LangChain. So it is very easy to connect with the LangChain. Sorry, connect with any LLM provider using LangChain, and then pre-process your data and then give the data to it. So let's say if you are having your own organization, right? So if you are having your own organization, if you go to ChatGPT and then ask some question to ChatGPT, it may not able to answer your questions, because you are asking, let's say, you are into your company and now you want to know, like, whatever the user is. Let's say if this particular user is there on LinkedIn or not. Chat GPT cannot do that, right? Because he does not have, the Chat GPT will not have the data to uh, any platform of yours, like your organization. So how will you do that? So LangChain will again simplify this. Like, what does LangChain will do is, you can connect your database to LangChain, and then you can connect with the LLM provider, okay, who does all the processing of the data. And then at the end you will get the data from the as a output. Like, let's say now you want to know how many users are there, or maybe how many employees are there in my company who is working on maybe some a testing unit, or maybe how many clients are there who is working on a like web development unit, or maybe how many employees are there who is working for this particular client, right? So based on these prompts you can get the output, since you are connected with your own database of your private company, right? So that is how LLM works, and that is how you can connect, that is how it is easy to connect with LLM using LangChain. Okay, it has ability to create chains and logical connection that helps in bridging one or multiple LLMs. That is what I have explained now. So next thing, you have LangChain provides limitless opportunity, limited only by your imagination. So basically, like, LangChain will provide limitless, like, there is no way that you can, if you think of something, LangChain is having that particular thing, like, they, because it is based on LLMs, right? So next slide, maybe. Let's go. Okay. So before we go for anything like discussion about how to actually implement LangChain, first let's just see what exactly chains are in LangChain. What does chain do? So in LangChain, whenever we implement this prompting of like a prompt template or something, so first thing we need to design a prompt template. Like what is the prompt that I want, like that I am actually expecting from the user, and then I will be connecting that prompt template with an LLM, and then that will become a LLM chain. Like, and in that case, let's say if I am having one chain here, like let's say if I'm having one chain here, and that this chain is connected with some other prompt, okay, like other prompt template, and after that I want to create one more prompt template. So let's say there is a connection between these two prompts. Like example, if I give you, there can be example of that mm, let's say example of any mathematical, um, like what I can say, any mathematical operation we can take, right? Like Fibonacci series, right? So what is so first thing you can say, like what is Fibonacci series, or what is a real number, what is prime number, and something like this. Okay, so first prompt you have given what is prime number, and maybe like what is Fibonacci series, what is this, and what is that. That is the first prompt that you have. After this, you got some output of it, and then you want some other output based on next prompt. Okay, like you got first thing what is something, and based on that particular output you want to give some other thing. Okay, so how will you do that? Again, you will be chaining that previous output to the next input. So previous output will become the next prompt actually, right? So this chain will allow you to, like you can see here the second point, by taking the output of one LLM and using it as an input for the next, it becomes feasible to connect multiple LLMs in a sequential fashion. So you have a sequence of LLMs. It is not only there for one LLM. You can just start creating multiple LLMs like this. So you can have multiple chains inside your LLM. Okay, like how you have in ChatGPT, right? So in ChatGPT, again, if we write something, and if we give them the data, like I want to connect with the previous like chats, based on previous chats, give me the next output, so that it can generate the next output based on what you have given before, right? Then you have blending LLMs with external data enables the system to respond to inquiries effectively. So external data basically means whatever externally, like private, you can say, data is there for your organization. So for that also you can connect LLM with that. Okay, like in the chain itself. Integration LLMs with long-term memory such as chat history enhances the overall content and depth of interaction. So the same thing you have seen in ChatGPT as well. So as of now, why we are actually learning LangChain, since ChatGPT is also there already there. Why don't we use ChatGPT directly? See, we can use ChatGPT for sure. We can use ChatGPT, but as I am saying, ChatGPT will not give you a personalized. Let's say if we want to create a personalized chatbot, right? So previously, if how we used to do create a personalized chatbot, either using Azure APIs, or maybe Google API itself, GCP APIs, and then going there, pre-processing our own data, feeding the data to it, giving everything by ourselves, right? That was our job to do it. But now, since ChatGPT is already having those things, sorry, this OpenAI is already having those LLMs, right? They already have some built-in features. So instead of using and doing everything by ourselves, here it is something like you are using an API, you can say, right? So you are using an API of as a LangChain, or maybe a framework, if we say in a more technical term. So we are using an API here, and then we are connecting it with the our own private data, what I am having in my own organization, let's say. So I'm connecting it with my own private data, feeding the LLM my own private data, and then I am telling him to generate data based on, or maybe generate some information based on data I am feeding it to them, right? So that is what LangChain is, and that is what chain represents in that LangChain. Okay, next slide, Anushka. Okay, so here you can see, like let's say if we are talking about how to set up the LangChain. So first thing we have to, there are much more, like I can say, packages or libraries that we have to like install. before we start with LangChain, then we have to actually create or take an API or access key from any of the LLM provider. Maybe we can use OpenAI, Hugging Face. So as of now, in my case, for OpenAI, I have already exceeded my limit for this month. So I will be going with any open source platform like Hugging Face itself. Okay, Hugging Face or Mistral and something. So from there, we'll try to get an API, and then we'll try to invoke some prompt from there. So first thing is, we are as a user, we are going to give the user input to the prompt template. So we have to design a template first of all. Then we'll give it to the LLM, and then this LLM will, from this LLM, now we can invoke some output from it. Like let's say now we can ask some question from LLM, and then it will give me some answer. Okay. Next slide, Anushka. Maybe I think I need to now be on the same slide. I need to actually share the screen. Yeah, fine. First thing is I need to actually open my VS Code. Mhm. If someone is interested, you can use OpenLab, and then we can work together. Let me know if my screen is visible. Let it load. No, I am opening VS Code, but since I have opened OBS, and since we are in a meet, it is taking some time. It gets oh, quite a hard task. It seems. Let me reopen it. Which one? Yeah, I am doing that now. Let's see whether it is going to work. Still, it is taking some time. Um, okay. Is there any doubt for you? Okay, I can see only Nikhil is there. Just now, there was some array. What is happening? Let me do this. Ah, it opened finally. Even Mac is having this problem. Is it visible now?
Yes.
Okay. Uh, it's still loading actually. Okay. So before we start with LangChain, or before we write any code, these are some things, or maybe like these are some packages that we need to install first of all. Uh, not loaded yet. Just a second. Let me switch off my camera. Maybe it will work better. Now it is visible now. Okay. So these are some things. So as of now, as I said, for me, for OpenAI, it has already, I have exceeded the limit. So I will not be able to use OpenAI as of now in this session. Yes, you can use OpenAI as well if you want to use OpenAI, this ChatGPT. The problem with this OpenAI is if you have connected with your credit card and if you've done with your like was it what is it like credit, so you will get around $5 of credit, I guess. So after that $5 of credit, if you have done with that, they'll charge you some money. So it is better to go with other open source platforms like Hugging Face is there, Bloom is there. So now, so the first thing is you need to pip install LangChain. That is the first thing that you need. If you are not having your laptop with that much capacity to handle LLM or something, you can always use this Google Colab. That would be better. Then you have, so first thing is have LangChain. That is the most important thing, of course. Second thing is in order to work with LangChain, you need to install this LangChain community. Okay, so these are first two things that will be needed before you work with LangChain. Okay, so let me just cut it and paste it at the top. Okay, so we need these two things to actually work upon before we. It is too slow actually. It seems. Okay, so as of now, if I want to work with, yeah, so if I want to work with LangChain, the first thing we need is to install these two things: pip install LangChain and then pip install LangChain community. As I have already done it, if you want, you can do it. In case of Google Colab, you have to use this, not here, not operation here. Okay, if you are using Google Colab to install it, then you have to install any one of the LLM models. Okay, so either LLM provider, either OpenAI or maybe Hugging Face or maybe so if you are using OpenAI, you can use Hugging Face. If you can install OpenAI. If you are using Hugging Face, you can use this Hugging Face. Okay, then you have to install OpenAI. It is very simple. You just need to write pip install OpenAI and you are done. But in order to work with Hugging Face, you need to install these two things as well: Hugging Face Hub and LangChain Hugging Face. Okay, so these are two things that you need to install in order to work with Hugging Face. Second are these three things, which is actually, you can say, dependency of working on Hugging Face. Either in some cases you will see by default it will install it, these transformers and accelerate and bits and bytes. If not, you can install it by yourself. But these are two things which is very necessary. So first thing, you need LangChain and LangChain community. Then either one of the provider, OpenAI, Hugging Face. Okay. After that, okay. Now let's come to this LangChain. So after we have done with this, we can go for. Mhm. Let it load. Just a minute. It is loading. It's yet to load. Seems. Okay. So the first thing is we have to go. You can go to environment variable and then just create a .env file. Okay, and then you can actually just write some secret codes. So let's say in case of Hugging Face, let's say if I want to go for Hugging Face, what I can do is just go here to this Hugging Face website, okay, huggingface.co, and then you can is my this Hugging Face is visible website. Okay, let me. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me share my screen, whole screen, maybe present something else. Oh, we cannot share multiple things at the same time. Let me do one thing. Yeah, that is not an issue. Like you can use anything. That is not an issue. It will not be a problem if you are using VS Code or Google Colab or PyCharm. It's just that the setup needs to be there. That is it. So let's say as of now, I'll go to my Hugging Face profile and then I'll go to settings. So first thing we have to go to settings. Then here you have to go for access token. In this case, you'll be getting the access token here. If you have not uh, you're not having any access token, create a new token from here. That is it. And if you are having OpenAI, so you can again go to OpenAI and then get the yeah. So you can go to this platform.openai.com and then you can get this API key. So if you are using API key, sorry, OpenAI, you can go to OpenAI here and then create an API key like this. And or else, if you are using Hugging Face, I have shown you how to go. So just get the access key from there, because these are two things we need to have it. Okay. Now, by doing CMD on CMD. About CMD, I did not get actually. Can you unmute Nikhil and tell me again? Oh, it will be better if you are creating like whenever we talk about a Python, right? So it is better to create a something like what I can say environment variable first of sorry not environment variable virtual environment for anything that you are doing, so that it can be separated from your whole system, and then try to install everything. Like let's say if we are talking about this LangChain and all, see today LangChain is there, tomorrow something else will come up, right? So instead of that, you can just go ahead with installation using a virtual environment.
Okay.
Yeah. So it will be better if you are going for a virtual environment, because that will be separated from everything, right? So after that, after the installation and for creation of virtual environment and all, you can do it using CMD. That is not at all an issue. And then you can use any editor to write the code. That is again, there is no issue with that. So now we have so the first thing is we need to import OS. Then as of now, since I am using this environment variables here, I'll be writing from .env import load.env. So I need to install even this .env package as well. Then I will write load.env, so it will load every environment variables. Remember, for Hugging Face, we need to write Hugging Face Hub API token. This is the like name you have to write while you are not here actually, inside environment variable. While you are setting the environment variable for your system, you need to write Hugging Face Hub API token. If you are not writing it, you will get an error. So this is the syntax that you need to follow. And if you are using OpenAI, so you have to write OpenAI API token. Okay. So you need to write this exactly while you are setting the variable. So as of now, since we are using Hugging Face Hub API, so we can directly write like Hub API token. Okay. So this is how we can write our like we can actually access this. So now if show you just one second. So we have just loaded Hugging Face API token, which is coming from actually .env file. Okay, and then okay, so it is coming from here. And yeah, one more thing I forgot. For Hugging Face, you have to use two things actually. Not only Hugging Face Hub API token, but also you have to use one more token is there, that is HF token. These two tokens needs to be there. Remember, for HF token and Hugging Face Hub API token, both will be same. There will be no difference at all in both the thing. Now after this, let's say if I go to this API here, so I'll just run it. Let's see whether if there is an error. Okay, so there is no error now. Now what we want to do is, let's say as of now I've just given an example. Let's say if we want to use OpenAI, so how will you do it? So for OpenAI, you can just go here, import. Wait a second, it's too slow. Getting too slow here. So for OpenAI, you can go here and import OpenAI from LangChain.llms. And then in order to set this like LLM, you can just write OpenAI as an object, you can say, and then you can pass a temperature here. Okay, so this temperature means, like, let's say if I am having temperature as 0, that means it will not be, our LLM is not, will not be a creative, like it will not give you a creative answer. Whatever it has been trained on, it will basically, it will not take any risk to give you any answer. So whatever it was predefined, it will just give you that answer. But let's say if I write 1, so it will start taking risk to give you the answer. It can be correct, it can be false, it can be either correct or wrong, but it will try to explore some answers before answering it. If I am setting it to, let's say, 0.5, okay, in that case it will explore. So based on, so the temperature will be from 0 to 1. Okay, like, so if it is 0, it will not explore any answer at all. If it is 1, it will try to explore all the possible answer for you. Whatever it is there, it will start exploring it. If it is 0.5 or 0.6, it most probably it is better if we keep it like 0.76 or something. One will be like, if you don't want to give, let's say if you are having a user who don't want to get irritated with the same answers, or maybe more creative answers, so it is better to use some, like, be in your safe zone, that is like a comfort zone. So that is for OpenAI. Now let's say if we want to use, wait a second. Yeah, so now let's say, as of now, as I said, I'll be using Hugging Face here. So in order to import Hugging Face, we need to use from LangChain Hugging Face. We have to import Hugging Face endpoint. So first thing, we need to set this Hugging Face endpoint that we need to set, because on Hugging Face, if I go to Hugging Face here, you will see there are multiple like models we have. Let's say if I go to models here, you can see there are multiple models are there, right? Like we just 1 second. So we have image to text model, visual question answering. So we have multiple models are there. So out of these models, what model I want to use, let's say. So instead of downloading every model into your system, what you can do is, you can just use the API from Hugging Face itself. So this Hugging Face endpoint, what it will do is, this particular class, or maybe you can say function or whatever, it will actually take a particular model from Hugging Face itself. Okay, and then it will try to use it for that, like whatever you want to use it. Let's say as of now I want to use Mistral AI. Okay, so Mistral is one of the, again, model which is for free. Okay, so I want to use, let's say, Mistral here. So what I can do is, let's go to just Mistral AI, and you can use instruct 0.3, 0.2, any one of the API. So let's say if I'm going for 0.3, so you just need to copy this particular like model ID, you can say. So just copy this ID and then just paste it for model ID here. Okay, So you just write the model ID here. You can see I have already written this 0.3, I guess, or maybe 2. It load. Yeah, 0.3 I have used. So if I am using 0.3, you can see I have just taken 0.3. Then in order to set this endpoint, we need to write Hugging Face endpoint. Then I have to write this repo ID. So Hugging Face is like a repositories for model, right? So on GitHub we have repo. Same way on Hugging Face also we have repo of models, like all the AI models, which is actually open source. Then we have to pass this repo ID. We have to pass the ID of that particular repository. So inside model ID we have written this ID, and then we need to pass this temperature. That means it will be exploring somewhat, like it will be in the safe zone actually, but it will try to explore some answers. Okay. Then we have Hugging Face API token. In this Hugging Face Hub API token, we have to pass this particular token. Okay, it will be same for every repo that you like to call. Okay, basically every model that you like to call. And then if you run it, I guess I did not run the previous block. Yeah. So you can just run this particular model, and let's say if I'm running this model now. So while we are training our LLM, it will take some time. Not wait a second. Did it? Okay. Okay, so that is done. Then we have this model ID, which is now it is going to take that particular I. You can see token is valid. It is saying token is valid. Your token has been saved in this particular cache memory. Then login successful. So now we have logged into this Hugging Face API, and then we have fetched this LLM, that is Mistral AI. Now let's say I want to do some kind of, like I want to just run some kind of prompt. So by I have given a prompt like need to open a momos stall, let's say in Chennai, which is in India. I want to get some name based on that location, right? So in that case I can just run this code. Okay, and let's see, as of now it was giving me magic, momo magic and all. Let's see what it is give, what gives next. So again, we have Momo Mania, Chennai Momo House. So we have got Himalayan momos. So we have got some multiple answers here based on the prompt that we have provided. Let's say instead of Chennai, if I write something like Kolkata, okay. So now it has to generate some other names. Since we are not in Chennai, so it has to generate some other names. So again, you can see Kolkata Momo House. So it is having some kind of Momo Munch, Momo Corner, Momo Street, Momo Express, Momo Palace. So based on that, it is just trying to approach this problem, the prompt. So we just need to write this LLM. We are just calling this LLM. Then we need to write invoke and then pass the prompt to it, right? So that is done. Now let's say next thing with what we have is, as I said, we have to do prompt templating. So as you have seen in the where it is, yeah. So let me just show you here. As you have seen here, we are having user input. Then we need to write it. Go inside prompt template. Will basically create a prompt template. Then go inside LLM. So we have a prompt template, let's say, and then we want to chain it to something. Okay, so to the LLMs. So now I am giving a question like how 0 factorial is 1. Okay, so in the template I am passing, this is my question. So question will be like this question, and then answer will be like step by step calculations. So how we are getting to 0 factorial 1. Okay, so what I am trying to do is creating a prompt template now. So prompt template, now you can see template is equal to, I have just passed this template. and then input variables, I have passed this question. If we can have multiple questions here, like we can create an array of questions as well. As of now, I'm just writing one question here. And now if I run this code, you can see it will give us a template here, like, okay, so it will give us template like input variable, we have a question, then template is equal to question, so it will first give a question, then answer, which will be a step by step calculation, right? Now let's say we are writing a LLM chain, creating an LLM chain, and then inside which I am passing an LLM and also the prompt that I have just written, okay? And then I am just invoking that particular question. So I am just invoking this LLM chain with the question that I have just designed. Okay. So what I can write, let's say if I am entering on this. Okay. So it has just given me inside output, we have just given some data. And now let's say if I run it again, the next output. Okay, so you can see 0 is a number and it is the additivity identity element. And so basically it has just given me some explanation to this particular problem, which is 0 factorial is 1. How 0 factorial is 1? So it has given me some explanation of it. Okay. In case of chat GPT, you can get, like, let's say OpenAI, you can get some other answer. In case of Mistral, we are getting some other answer. In case of other LLMs, we can get the other answer based on the training of that particular LLM. Okay. So that is about LLM. There are more things to LLM, like we can actually chain something. So let's say if I am having this particular thing, like I want to do the pre-processing of it, so we have got remove a special character, so everything will be inside lower, then we will be tokenizing it, and then remove the stop words as well. So let's say the is in, and so these are some stop words that I want to remove it from there. So first thing I'll run this, and then I'm having a chain of it where I am creating some chain. You can see as of now I am having LC. I am adding this chain where the first thing it will do is remove the special character, then it will convert it into lowercase, then it will convert it into tokenization, and then it will remove the remove stop words as well. So as of now we have just created a chain of around 4 operation, right? So now let me run it. Okay. Okay. Yep. So it is having some issue. We'll see it. But this is how you can actually do it. So remove a stop words and all, and then you can go for, let's say after that you can go for something like lc.apply. So basically LangChain.apply the data, and then you can get the pre-processed processed data after processing. Okay. So this LangChain will just simplify your process of creating an LLM. So what are the, let me, so features of LangChain again, like modular design, automation, integration, monitoring. So these are some features of LangChain that we have. Then we have already seen the demo of it, which is done. And then what are the advantages of LangChain we have? So efficient data processing, that is what we have seen just now. Okay, then we have scalability. So scalability basically means, let's say if we are having, even if we are having large volume of it, it can actually handle the data very efficiently. That will not be an issue for LangChain. Then flexibility. LangChain integrates easily with various data sources and tools, making it adaptable to different workflows and requirements. As I said before, if we are having LangChain, so we can connect it with our own private set of data, and then we can also pass the um, prompt to it, or maybe we can also chain our public data as well to it, or maybe we can also use LLM which is already provided by some provider, right? Then we have ease of use that we have already seen, like how it was very just two three lines of code to actually generate a particular prompt, like answer with using a prompt, right? So that is what about LangChain. Like, it was just an introduction to LangChain. If we go in depth, there are more to the LangChain that we have, like chaining a particular whole prompt, or maybe like as of now we have just changed one or two prompts, right? So let's say if we are having a logical connection between two chain, so how can we do it? Let's say if we want to do the routing, let's say we are having multiple chains based on some particular question, I want to chain it to something else. So in that case, that is something called routing. So that also we can do using LangChain. Okay. So those are the things we had. Now for resources, we have this LangChain website itself, like the documentation. Then we have Hugging Face, and where you can get multiple models there. And since I have not written the code on Collab, so I'll just remove it actually. Okay, so if you guys want collab link, I will share it on mail. You will get it on mail. So if you guys have any question or something, you can ask me.